Advent 7, Advent segment, making podcasts for all of you. Hello, and welcome to the Advent 7 podcast. I'm your host and the protector of Brooklyn, Trey. And today I'm joined by the Scarlet Spider, Andrew.
It's pizza time.
Raging against the machine, it's Spider-Punk Braunsen.
What's up?
And doing his best work in the cover of the night, it's Spider Noir, Frank.
Hi. Did you know if you burn matches to the bottom, you'll feel something?
Oh God! I thought October was like 2 months ago.
And
What do you
today
mean?
we're talking. Yes, and today we're talking about the spectacular, the amazing, the ultimate, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Before we
Spider-Man.
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 Spiders-Man.
We're not talking
the
about
Spider-Man
Spider-Pig?
made entirely of spiders.
Spider-Pig. Spider-Pig.
It's the man
Please.
spider.
There is Man Spider, but there's also Spiders Man. A Spider-Man made entirely of a living colony of spiders.
Gentlemen,
I don't want to
we
read
are
that one.
That's kind of
gentlemen.
I
We
don't
are
wanna-
Spider-Men.
I don't want to read that book. That don't sound kosher. That don't sound cash money.
I think it
Before we
sounds
swing
awesome.
into action, we'd like to thank everyone for joining in today. If you're new here, we hope you enjoy the show. And if you do, please leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and share this on social media. And once you're done here, why not check out some more? Why not watch another video? We have some hilarious clips from Andrew playing Halo. He's gotten his skills up, but he keeps running into some very funny situations.
It only took like 30 hours of Halo within 2 weeks for me to like get good enough for a positive KD ratio. This is great. It's great. I'm a little bit obsessed with that game right now, but it is what it is.
And if you're watching this after we've gone live, we will be doing a Game Awards live stream on December 9th. So be sure to tune in for that. Otherwise, you can just check out the recording afterwards. With all that out of the way, grab your web shooters, put on the mask, and hope to God there are no more clones.
Yes, grab your web shooters unless you're Tobey Maguire.
Unless
There-
you're
Man, it's still though.
And you're organically giving them.
It's funny how as a kid you
Alright.
don't really question that the webs just come out of his wrist, and then
I question it because I watched the animated series, but just obviously spoilers ahead for all things Spider-Man related, except for No Way Home because it hasn't come out yet while we're doing this.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
So
almost 20 years old. That's fine. It's fine.
there haven't been like too many spoilers about the upcoming movie, thankfully. Like there's trailers that have come out, and it's pretty easy to speculate based off of the trailers, but we haven't heard a lot of confirmations, only rumors and casting claims and things like that. So,
Yeah.
that's free
But we
reign to
have
talk
no-
about 'cause nobody really knows what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Andrew Garfield's
anything
only
we
movie
say
is-
here,
Yep,
anything we
Andrew
say here will
Garfield.
be prophetic. It will be absolutely prophetic. We'd have no insider information, so if we say something and it turns out to be right, it was a lucky guess.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield's only movie is a musical. Nothing else. Nothing else whatsoever.
All right, so before we talk about like future, before we get into speculation territory, do you guys have a favorite Spidey in any media, in any form of the media?
That's a fantastic question. I would have to pick the 2049 Spider-Man, only because I really love his costume. I'm not too far.
2099.
Or it's 20. Well, there you see. There you go. I don't really know him that well. I just like his costume. But what is his name? Is it Miguel?
Yes, Miguel. He is from the future / a different Earth. Let me double check I have my Spider-Geddon crossover book that has references to where all the Spider-Men are from.
Oh my god. Did you pick
So
that
if
up
I
from
can
Barnes
find
and Noble?
Miguel, I'll let you know later.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
the concept is really cool. It's very reminiscent of kind of like Batman Beyond, where you have the hero that you know, but he's been very much redefined for a different setting. So I think that's really cool concept. But there's lots of different Spider-Man characters to pick from. Like we mentioned just now, he's got clones. For crying out loud. Maybe I feel like it's too easy of an answer to just say, well, Miles Morales, like, is our favorite character. Everybody likes Miles. You know, like, why wouldn't you? But to pick, like, a more obscure character to be your favorite, like, I would say probably 2099 Spider-Man is my current favorite. And we're going to get to see more of him in the Into the Spider-Verse sequel across the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
So I'm excited for
Part
that because
one
more
of-
people are going to find out about that character.
I mean, they dropped that last night. I'm like, well, now we have two things to talk about.
Right?
But,
Right?
yeah,
This is
Braunsen,
perfect timing.
What about you?
Well, prior to just 10 minutes ago, I would have said Miles Morales, but then you introduced me to Spider-Punk, and yeah, just like briefly looking into some of his stuff, he seems pretty cool.
Yeah, I think his name was Hobie. I think his name's
Yeah,
Hobie. He comes from an Earth that like outlaws music, so
Yeah,
Wow.
Hobie Brown.
it's like he has to.
Of
From
course.
what I read, he I don't know if killed or just like beat up the president who outlawed music with a guitar, and that's pretty rad.
Dang. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Oh yeah, Spider-Punk managed to kill Osborn during a riot by bashing the president with his guitar.
If that ain't punk rock,
I mean,
don't know what
that's
is.
all
Exactly.
you need right there.
That's peak punk, and I'm down for it.
I mean, he better be in Across the Spider-Verse, otherwise I'm gonna be upset now.
No kidding.
It's like I gotta see a version of Spider-Man where he just fights crime with a guitar. What is this, Fooly?
What about you, Frank?
Oh, I think my favorite Spider-Man is Superior Spider-Man.
Oh my
Oh.
god, that was an
Ooh.
amazing pick. Thank you. I spaced on that.
The where Doc Ock's soul is infused into Peter Parker as well, and he takes over the body.
Yep.
Yes. And he goes full CEO and creates Spider-Man LLC or corporation.
Yeah.
Spidey Corp.
Yeah,
Spidey
essentially he starts his own company. He has to go get his doctorate again. That's the first thing Doc Ock does once he's inside Peter Parker's body. To give some backstory, there was the comic book series called The Amazing Spider-Man. It was the original running series for Spider-Man in the comic books. There were about 700 issues of that book, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but I believe there were 700. And in the very last issue of this ongoing series that Marvel had been doing for decades, Peter Parker dies. Spoiler alert, the book's been out for 9 years now, so sue me, I suppose. But
We already got the spoiler warnings out of the way. You're good.
yeah, like Peter dies in the very last issue of that book. But what happens is that Doc Ock actually body swaps with Peter. So Doc Ock is now inside Peter's body, and he is Spider-Man now, whereas Peter dies inside Doc Ock's decaying body.
No. He doesn't die. He's also still trapped in his body as well, just running passenger to Doc Ock as he's doing all this.
That's the thing, right? Is that everybody thinks Peter is dead, but then turns out his ghost is still around, and he's still actually inside his original body too. It's kind of weird. It's a little bit weird here, but technically they share the same
It's comic
body
books.
now.
What did you expect?
Right. They share the same body now, and Doc Ock is now trying to be a better Spider-Man than Peter ever was.
Superior.
Yes. Hence the title, Superior Spider-Man.
Yeah. He literally Peter Parker literally becomes Jimmy Cricket sitting on top of Pinocchio's shoulder. It's like, hey, buddy, calm down. Use this power for good.
Mm-hmm. And that book series, when it came out, was very, what's the word for it? It was debated a lot. Like, it was not liked by everybody.
Controversial.
It was controversial. Yeah. Like when it initially came out, a lot of people hated the concept of Doc Ock being Spider-Man because they were like, this isn't Spider-Man. He's not doing things Spider-Man would do. And that was kind of the point. Like, I think they intended the book to be edgy at first, and they accomplished that because Doc Ock inside Spider-Man's body, he shoots a villain in the head in like the 3rd issue. So, immediately they're like, okay, this Spider-Man's going to start killing people. Because Doc Ock, when he merged with Spider-Man's body, something changed about him mentally. Like, as any person being merged with another person would, he starts to understand where Peter's motivations came from for becoming Spider-Man, and it inspires Doc Ock to do the same. But Doc Ock doesn't want to repeat the mistakes that Peter made. Doc Ock sees a lot of Peter's actions, including some of the more morally influenced decisions Peter made, and Doc Ock says, that is objectively incorrect. You don't do that, because if you do that, you are perpetuating the villain culture. You are creating more villains than erasing them. So he goes out to say, like, Peter was an idiot. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be the Spider-Man that we've needed all along. And so first thing he does is Doc Ock being very, vain. He's like, oh, I need my PhD again. I worked damn hard for that doctorate. I'm not giving it up. Just because I'm in a different body. I'm going to go back to school and get it again because I deserve it. I'm a doctor. so he goes back to school and he gets the doctorate for Peter.
Dr. Parker.
Yeah, so he gets called Dr. Parker afterwards, and
that's amazing.
That is also the book where the spider bots came from. Sorry, I will hand it off here because I've been ranting.
Let's go ahead. Did you have something to add?
I was going to say that is a level of petty that I will never achieve.
Yeah. It's so particular. It's very petty, but I mean, it's what he wanted, so he went for it. And hey, I mean, Peter got a doctorate for free out of it, so not such a bad deal.
And yeah. I'm going to be basic here. Well, I'm not. I'm going to just have a twofold answer. One, Miles is my number one. Is now my number one version of Spider person. Mm-hmm. I've loved him, and I knew about him and have seen him in media before Into the Spider-Verse. So I'm not a bandwagoner, just to point it out. But
of course, yeah,
before Miles, my number one portrayal, the best version of Spider-Man that has ever existed, is Josh Keaton's performance as Spectacular Spider-Man in the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series. It was in that weird time where Disney had bought most of Marvel, but they didn't have the rights to Spider-Man, so we had this gem of a show. Just to point out, this show was ran by the people who make Young Justice. So this show was top tier. The writing was so good.
Do you have a date for when it was released?
Ah, crap. I want to say it ended around 2008 is what I want to say. Let me double check that now. Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spectacular Spider-Man.
That sounds rad.
I couldn't find the date, but I found out why it was canceled.
Oh yeah, it's like it ran from like 2008 to 2009, I think. Yep.
Oh, that's
2008
a lot more.
to 2009.
That's a lot more recent than I thought it was. Huh.
Yeah, that was technically 2 Spider-Man animated series ago, because Disney has made 2 Spider-Man series, 3 now, if we count this weird Disney Junior show that I don't want to think about.
We do not count that. No.
Damn. Oh, okay.
But yeah.
So it looks like, simply put, Sony owns the show, but couldn't make any more episodes because Spider-Man's animation rights were returned to Marvel. So, So Sony couldn't continue it, and Marvel didn't own the show itself for a continuation.
Yep. So we only have 26 episodes of a very, very well-written show. And it ends on basically a cliffhanger, so it's just like...
So yeah, if you're looking to get into it, viewer beware.
Yeah,
You will be
that's
slightly
pretty hard.
disappointed.
But yeah, Josh Keaton's performance as a like 16-year-old Peter Parker, he's had his powers for maybe a year at the start of the show, and he is going through so much with relationship issues, being broke. This is like a top tier Spider-Man performance. Like, the 90s animated series was like the benchmark, and then Spectacular just pole vaulted way over that.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool, man. Is Spectacular the one where that meme comes from, where it's Peter screaming "No!" and reaches for Gwen's ghost and it disappears, and he
No, so that was the 90s anime. That was the 90s animated series, and that was when in the 90s animated series, Mary Jane disappears into a black hole at one point, and then 2 seasons later she comes back. She and Peter get married, and on their trip to Niagara Falls, Hydro Man shows up, and it turns out that both Hydro Man and Mary Jane are water clones, and they were destabilizing.
Water clones too.
What the heck?
And so they both destabilize and evaporate, and Peter / Spider-Man's just, once again,
Wow, that's
the voice actor for the 90s Spider-Man did his top tier. He did some top tier acting. Both the Shocker line and the Mary Jane line are maybe memed to death, but they were heart wrenching in the moment. Because
that is heart wrenching. That
sounds terrible.
Yeah, I'm only laughing because it sounds so freaking awful. Like, oh my god, they murdered Spider-Man's heart like over and over again, didn't they? That's so extra.
Supposedly the ending, the way the show ended, it kind of supposed to end on a happy ending because Madam Web's trying to take him to where she is, I guess. I don't know. We never got a resolution on that.
Yeah, because it got cut off. Man, every great Spider-Man iteration seems to get canceled early, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was kind of a natural. It was canceled early, but it's almost like a natural conclusion where it was because they had just finished both the Secret Wars and the Clone Saga. Well, not the Clone Saga. It was doing a Spider-Verse thing. They did a Spider-Verse crossover for the final arc of Spider-Man.
Okay.
Yeah, which is surprising because I know Spider-Man is being the only one that seems to actively reach out to across the multiverse for everything else.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. It's funny. Like, I really did not put it together until all the rumors started coming out for No Way Home and how it was gonna be multiverse focused. Was that, among all of Marvel's heroes, Spider-Man is the one most heavily connected to the multiverse. Because there's so many iterations of him out there. And there's so many comic book plots they've already made about Spider-Man's multiverse. I remember Spider Island was a big crossover book back in like the 2010s.
I think Spider Island actually had to do with the like a spider power outbreak.
Oh, okay, that was different. That was different. And there were a lot of like clone. There was a lot of clone stuff in that series too, if I'm not mistaken. So
Probably.
okay,
I don't know.
that's a
Yeah,
little
but
bit
I know
different.
for
It's a little bit different, but my point is that there's so many different Spider-Men out there, and there's
And
already
women.
and women too. That it's like all the stories that popped up about them. It's funny how it's taken this long to finally adapt Spider-Man's multiverse in a live-action setting. So I think it's almost funny how like this was the natural progression for a new Spider-Man story, because Marvel hasn't wanted to retell the same story that the first Spider-Man trilogy and then the Amazing Spider-Man movies talked about. Like, we totally skipped the origin story, we jumped into the crossovers with other superheroes, and now we are delving into one of the cornerstones of Spider-Man's story, which is the multiverse. So
So yeah,
that's pretty cool.
let's talk about the movies in general. Like, what do you? It's like how we rate the movies. It's like Sam Raimi, Mark Webb / the Andrew Garfield, and then the current MCU. How are we feeling about these movies, boys?
I actually like,
And of
Andrew
course, Into the
Garfield's
Spider-Verse.
movies. I actually like Andrew Garfield's movies, and I always have. Like, there's many people coming out of the woodwork to say like, "Oh yeah, I always liked those movies." I'm like, BS. You like I remember when those movies came out, and I remember seeing it with you in the theaters, and you said it was bad. Not talk to anybody specific here, but like I know there were friends of mine back in the day who hated that, and like I saw all the hate online about those two movies, but I never had a problem with them, and I actually liked Andrew Garfield's portrayal because he was a skater punk who was also like he was street savvy, but he was also very intelligent. And he was struggling with a lot of the emotional heaviness of Spider-Man that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man didn't really touch. He had the whole emo hair phase with the third Spider-Man film, but that movie sucked anyways. So we don't need to worry about that. But
It portrayed a Peter Parker, not a Spider-Man. Because
exactly.
It portrayed the teenager Peter Parker, which is... He's doing all this stuff when he's like 16, 17. That shit hurts. It weighs down on people.
Right, right. Yeah. I mean, when you're a kid at that age, like, you're still learning how to deal with a lot of this. All that emotional strain. And, I mean, in Andrew Garfield's case, like, with his Peter, I think he was dealing with probably the heaviest amount of emotional stress compared to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Tom Holland's Spider-Man is the happiest one. Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's fine. I want Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He's my favorite one among all of them. But I think Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is special. I think it's special, and it doesn't deserve all the flack it got, and kind of ties into what we had just mentioned earlier, that, you know, it's a real shame that third movie never came out with him attached to it.
I'm 50-50 on that third movie because Sony basically was trying to play the MCU game and then just built in a bunch of Sinister Six sequels, and it's just like,
yeah, in the span of one movie.
It's good that you're trying to build, but it's like you got to make this organic because you can't rush this.
That is a good point.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
That was a big problem with the other with the DC movies trying to like get the multiverse started. Like, they just threw in so many characters in one go instead of slowly adding them in.
They introduced Flash and Cyborg and Wonder Woman all in the same movie. Or not Wonder Woman, she was around before, but you know, it's like,
Don't you? It was the same movie too.
oh, okay. And it's just like, man, this is a lot. I don't really care about these characters yet. This isn't like Guardians of the Galaxy. This is the Justice League. You gotta warm up to it.
Well, the Guardians of the Galaxy is one unit too. Like, there is no Peter Quill without Gamora and Drax and everyone else. Like, they're a team. Their movie. It makes sense that they're all introduced in one go.
Together, the five of them equal one Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Gosh, I would love to see an MCU fight between Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and the Guardians. Like, I'm pretty sure Tom Holland would still kick their butt.
I mean, they tried that They did that in Infinity War for like 2 seconds.
They did that during Infinity War. That is true. And they like Peter Quill did have him in a headlock. So what am I saying?
Yeah, and Drax got attacked by a sentient blanket.
Oh, that was great. That was great. I like how Drax just goes, ah! The blanket immediately goes for his head.
Yeah.
That was the most cutthroat, brutal move. Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Frank, on the movies in general?
The movies themselves, the Sam Raimi ones, I hold more special because those are the ones I first watched when I was in Spider-Man. I've seen the TV shows. I remember Spider-Man and Friends.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
Yeah. So I remember those. I remember that TV show. I remember the original '90s cartoon, as well as some of the early 2000 ones where he like goes into the far future.
Yeah, Spider-Man Unlimited.
Yeah.
Where he goes.
Oh, I remember.
He goes to the other side of the sun where there's a parallel Earth.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Like
That's
there's more
cool.
mutants and stuff like that. It's pretty. The design for his suit's amazing.
Oh, yeah, I love that suit. Oh God.
Yeah, but no, the Sam Raimi ones hold most special because again, the first ones I watched and I grew to love Spider-Man. But as Mark Webb deals with more Peter Parker, I believe as a teenager, the other ones dealt with more as an adult, having to do all these hero duties on top of paying rent or not paying rent or
Rent. Rent.
or dealing with his love life with Mary Jane. It's just very much that it showed the difficulties of that life.
Yeah. Which is like, I think is the biggest thing about being Spider-Man is that you have to show him struggling in one aspect, at least 2 aspects of his life. Otherwise, it's not a realistic portrayal of Spider-Man, honestly. If he's not struggling to either pay rent or to help Aunt May pay the mortgage, if he's not struggling in his love life,
he's not Spider-Man without monetary issues.
Yeah.
it's like, yes. He's not Spider-Man if he's not broke.
Look, Spider-Man's got 2 big problems on his hands. He's got rent issues and he's got girl issues. Like, I'm pretty sure... okay, to rephrase it, romance issues, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to either one of the 2, if not both. Which I think is what makes Spider-Man so vastly relatable to the general audience of not just moviegoers, but comic book fans, superhero fans. Like, it makes him far more relatable than other heroes like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor.
Like Batman, not to jump companies, but Batman, so relatable, right?
Yeah, totally, man. I love just brooding like in my mansion surrounded by money and having my butler bring me my friggin' lobster every single day as I cry about how much I miss my mom. Like damn. Love it.
Hey Butler, I need some tissues to cry about my dead parents.
I think the perfect example of Batman's privilege is the Lego Batman movie.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Because that's where I got the lobster thing from. He eats lobster all the time. He microwaves it himself. It's insanely good. But man, they need to make a Lego Spider-Man movie. That'd be great.
I mean, they've done some Lego Marvel stuff, so maybe that'll happen. But
Lego has made so many like superhero adapted shorts and like miniature like movies and things that like air on Cartoon Network at 5 in the morning that I wonder if they've already made one. Lego,
well, they haven't done one of quality.
Lego Spider-Man, Lego Spider-Man Vexed by Venom animated short 2019. It's the first thing that shows up, and it's on YouTube from Lego's YouTube channel. You see?
Yep.
I didn't even need to know. Yeah, of course I was right. It exists. It's probably not the only one.
It's like if they have a set for it, they're gonna try and make a show out of it, especially if it's got money behind it, like Disney money.
Exactly. And I mean, it's like the sets are fun. Like I would love to buy Lego Spider-Man sets if I had Batman money.
But yeah, honestly, for me, all the movies have their high points. I am sorry for Andrew Garfield because his movies weren't bad. They just came at the wrong time, honestly.
Yeah,
it definitely wasn't Andrew Garfield's fault. He played a good Spider-Man, but I think the problems with those movies more lie in the writing than the acting.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would agree as well.
100%.
It's like, but I love the Raimi trilogy. The Raimi trilogy was
they're just
my childhood.
At this point, they're just so nostalgic.
Yeah, it's almost hard to take off those rose-tinted glasses, but I mean, even looking at them objectively, even Spider-Man 3, with all of its meminess, is still a really good movie.
Just because something's memeable does not make it bad.
What was the name of the dude who was the journalist at the Daily Bugle during Spider-Man 3 that Peter was kind of like competing with, and he ended up
Eddie Brock,
Eddie Brock. Oh, that was Eddie. Okay.
aka Venom.
So
that's another thing we should probably talk about.
We should. Real quick, I want to mention the actor who played Eddie in Spider-Man 3. I never realized until about a year ago that it's the same dude who played Eric in that 70s show.
Yep, Topher Grace.
I rewatched the clip. I'm like, what the frick? That's him. That's Eric. And he's trying to like play a serious role. I'm like, oh my god, I can't take you seriously, man. You're so funny. Like he's a great actor. It's just that I see his face and I think about all the times he screwed up a date with Donna, and I'm like, oh god, I can't. I can't. It's like whoever cast him in this movie did a fantastic job. Thank you. That was really great. Oh, the other thing too.
I've heard.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm ranting.
So I want to point out that the reason that Venom, the things they did with Venom in that movie is because Sam Raimi hates Venom. Like, he detests Venom. He did not want to put Venom in his third movie.
Well, that is not the right franchise for him to direct if he doesn't like Venom. I think they screwed up a little bit, didn't they? But by that point, there were 3 movies in. They could just get a new director. So oof.
Yeah, the whole point was that he had a plan for Spider-Man 3 and apparently Spider-Man 4, but he did not want to use Venom. He just didn't like him, and that's why we got what we got.
Huh.
Man, imagine the world where he wasn't strong-armed into having Venom.
The MCU might not exist.
We would have flying cars, probably.
Oh my god.
Most likely, yeah. Like, we'd all have webs coming out of our wrists by this point.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a bit of speculation, it's a little off topic, but I will say, like, if the third movie actually did go well, maybe we wouldn't have the MCU. Because I think partially Marvel movies today, superhero movies, exist thanks to the failures of superhero movies from the early 2000s.
Yeah, you got a point. Like, Blade, Spider-Man, the X-Men, they all laid the groundwork for people to be able to take superhero films very, very seriously, and they gave Marvel enough clout that once they came out with a banger with Iron Man, and we're just like, yeah, we're doing we got a crazy plan. There was an idea to bring together. I'm not going to do the speech.
you need the eye patch for that one.
Yeah.
You need to feel Nick Fury's soul within you. Speaking of which, Nick Fury being in Far From Home, like, I'm so happy that they did that. Like, Sam Jackson, I wish he was in that movie more. His presence really did make that. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing is that since again that movie came out like how many years ago now? 3 years ago?
Like two. Came out after Endgame, so
Endgame.
2.
Can I talk about the post-credit scene from Far From Home?
Yep, we're all in spoilers. So
Nick Fury was a Skrull the whole time.
Yep.
And so was Maria Hill. The second they did that, I was just like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!"
I'm sorry, what?
That
did you not watch watch
Nah,
Far From Home?
I haven't seen it yet.
Dang it! Dang it! You should have said something.
Nah, I don't care.
Okay.
We're all in spoilers, so he gets what he deserves.
The reason why it bothers me is because Nick Fury and Maria Hill, they make decisions in Far From Home that feel off character for them. Things that feel too convenient. The fact that they missed Mysterio being a bad guy just felt way too out of line because Nick Fury is Nick Fury. Like,
oh yeah, Nick Fury is so paranoid. He's willing to sit there and look at him go, I have about 6 different contingency plans to kill you because you might be a traitor. You might not. But if you are, 16. If you aren't, about 5.
Dude, like, we saw, like, how much crap that Nick Fury had to go through in Winter Soldier. Like, the part where he takes off his eye patch and looks at that Hydra agent's like, you gotta keep both eyes open. You know, that was crazy. So
Faked his own death.
So, you know, the whole movie, like I love Sam Jackson being it, but and I love that Nick Fury was there as a concept, but did I enjoy his portrayal? No. Like, the whole time I was like, this isn't how Nick Fury normally goes. Why is he not, like, catching this? And then they do the whole scroll reveal. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Now it makes sense because it wasn't Nick Fury.
That's why he sucks.
Yeah, that's why he sucks. And I'm like, God, I really wish that they actually put real Nick Fury in this movie because maybe it would have been even cooler. But whatever. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But I wanted to get that off my chest. That's always been something that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, if only it was real Nick Fury. But then I guess we wouldn't have had a movie. So.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot because Quentin Beck, Mysterio, had a very good plan, and I almost believed him. I knew he was a bad guy, but I still almost believed him halfway through the movie. I'm like, okay, they said multiverse. They're setting up a multiverse. They're saying that it's like, I know Mysterio's a shyster, but what if, just what if we're actually getting multiverse here? There's a reason to believe him. And then it's like, oh, it's just Mysterio doing Mysterio things. I'm like, I knew it was coming, and I still fell for it.
Yeah, they trolled us with the multiverse just to bring it back for the 3rd movie and be like, oh no, the multiverse is real. It's like, dang it! you could have told us one movie ago, 3 years ago, but okay, fine. We waited, we did the long haul. It was less than 2 weeks until we finally get to see this movie. It's whatever, it's fine. If they waited to make No Way Home a year later, I think I would have been super mad. It's been such a long wait. It's been such a long wait since the end credits scene.
It just feels like that because of, things happening on the outside.
But even still, like, I think if that didn't happen, like, waiting 2 to 3 years to find out what happens after Peter Parker's identity being revealed by Mysterio, I remember being in the movie theater.
That was such an ending. I was like, oh no, what did we do?
Yeah, I remember sitting next to Drew in the theater, and he and I look at each other, and he's like, they can't end right there. And I'm like, but they did. And now we have to wait. We have to wait several more years for the next one. He's like, no. Yeah, that was that's probably the best cliffhanger in any MCU movie. Like, okay, except for Infinity War. But I argue that because Infinity War, we knew there was another one coming. Like, we knew that wasn't the end. Whereas with Far From Home, it was like, what's going to happen now? Like, we have no idea how Spider-Man's going to come back from this. So,
let's some of that fear might have came from the whole Sony debacle. If you guys want to think back to last year, where they tried to say, so this leads us to our next topic talking about Sony and their crazy antics.
Yeah, so, Sony, they nearly borked this whole thing. We nearly didn't get a 3rd Spider-Man movie again.
Yeah, and obviously, it's like most people will point out, well, obviously this was just a ploy. They're just playing this up so we can build hype to make sure people are going to be in the theaters to see the next Spider-Man movie. But it's just like, Sony, you didn't have to do any of this. Marvel, you didn't have to do any of this. We were gonna be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you guys had just let it go, if you guys had just had faith in the fan base and the movies and Tom Holland, we wouldn't have had any of this drama. But there were several months where we weren't sure if Spider-Man was just going to be ripped out of the MCU after that cliffhanger had happened.
Yep.
That would have been the biggest crime to have been committed in modern day cinema. To end on the largest cliffhanger that closed out phase 3 of MCU. Just to be like, oh yeah, we're never going to talk about that again.
It's like if they were going to talk about it, they were going to pull some multiverse shenanigans. They were actually going to be like, oh yeah, this is Tom. This is Peter Parker now. Some other random dude.
Yeah, they give us some backstory, being like, yeah, so Peter went and talked to Doctor Strange, and he's gone now. It's just like, no, we need to see it.
I would only allow that if they did the Into the Spider-Verse like quick comic book cuts of, oh, you know the backstory. This. Okay, you're good.
Mm-hmm. Right. God, Into the Spider-Verse is such a...
He talked to Doctor Strange. Now he has a new face. He has a new face. No one recognizes him.
It's fine.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we still call him Peter Parker, but, you know, it's not the Peter Parker they know, so...
I will call him more superior Spider-Man.
They bring in Tobey Maguire and de-age him. or worse, they deep fake him to look like Tom Holland on Tobey Maguire's body.
Pizza time.
Yeah, man. It's yeah, they nearly screwed up that whole situation, but it was a stressful few months of like everybody on social media just begging Sony and Marvel to get back together. And I remember reading a few interviews where apparently the big breaking point that got everything to work out was Tom Holland going back to Kevin Feige, and then he also talked to Amy Pascal from Sony and told them both one-on-one, please let me keep being Spider-Man. Do not do this. Like, please maintain this business relationship for just one more movie. Just let us finish this. Like, let us finish
say no to Cinnamon Roll Tom Holland?
Apparently,
you can't say no to that face.
Apparently, you can't, because Tom Holland somehow got two of the largest companies in media right now to band together for a new business contract. Like,
he's the real MVP.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy, man. I'm really impressed that it happened. We're lucky that it worked out the way it did.
And they did it again, boys. We're getting 3 more.
Yeah. If you fast forward to like 2 weeks ago, Tom's talking about he doesn't like. Tom's young. He's like roughly you and my age, right, Andrew? He's basically our age.
He's younger than us, just by a little bit.
But yeah, he's talking about like he's thinking about how he doesn't want to be Spider-Man when he's 30, still probably playing Spider-Man in high school. Hopefully they age him up after this movie. But it's like Tom Holland's thinking about not coming back. And then Amy Pascal sweeps the feet underneath him because either they had already talked about this or Tom Holland was trying to get a better paycheck. But either way, Amy Pascal comes out and is like, oh, you know, we're still doing 3 more Spider-Man movies. They'll probably be linked to the MCU. They'll possibly include Venom and Morbius and Craven and any other project we're working on. It's like, first of all, Amy, thanks for screwing Tom, but also, what?
The details are still vague, but all she really came out and said is Sony is still going to pursue more movie projects with Tom Holland and with Marvel, and they will still be connected to the MCU moving forward for the time being. The villain movies that Sony's creating, those are still kind of off in their own realm. They're loosely connected, but she did at least confirm in a very vague interview that yes, this is not the end of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So
the beauty of the multiverse, though, especially what we've seen with like What If, like time skipping or people from different generations of universe. There is no barrier. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
you can definitely have an aged up Spider-Man and it still work.
Mm-hmm. Right. And thanks to the multiverse, there's so many limitless possibilities for how they can take the current narrative they've created and work with it if casting issues become a problem. So, but regardless,
So yeah, I will point.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Andrew. No, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, like, I will say I'm happy that it's not the end of Tom Holland's run as Spider-Man in the MCU, because I think that up until now, even with Spider-Man's appearances in Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War, Homecoming, and Far From Home, it's all just been warm-up for Spider-Man in the MCU. Like, those have all been, like, stories that either had very small amounts of Peter's involvement in the story, he wasn't at the center of it, or the stories that he was part of were still kind of, like, small potatoes. Homecoming especially, but that was supposed to be. It was meant to be in direct opposition to movies like Civil War, where it was like down-to-earth, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. There are so many comic book stories about Spider-Man that the movies have never touched and have been so far away from touching because you had to warm up to it. You had to have the right scenarios. You had to have the rights to other Marvel heroes in order to have Spider-Man interact with them. Now with Far From Home, or rather, No Way Home. God, I'm always going to get those titles mixed up. I know I will. Now with No Way Home, like, we're finally at that stage where we're exploring the true potential of Spider-Man in movies. Like, we're finally exploring larger concepts like the multiverse. We finally get him to work one-on-one with Doctor Strange, of all characters, and he's going to be fighting the biggest villains in his career. But I think I also wanted to mention that it feels like we kind of escalated really quickly in terms of scale with Spider-Man. It went from Far From Home being like, oh, okay, like we're about like 50%, like, scale right now for Spider-Man in terms of conflict, to 150% with the third movie. We're just, oh shoot, we got 4, maybe 5 huge villains in this third movie now, and there's gonna be tons of cameos. We got Doctor Strange in here, like whoa, I feel like we almost went too fast all of a sudden this third movie, but we had to, right? Because we didn't know if we were going to get any more movies after this.
I don't believe that, because again, the whole point with the MCU is them able to tell a grander story. Mm-hmm. They're, instead of doing these single standalones, they're doing multiple things on top of each other. Mm-hmm. That is just a side effect from all of that. Instead of, now, again, the problem, we've seen him handle the stuff within New York, the whole thing with Vulture. And then he ventured out further from New York to other places. I might have been a leap to go interdimensional, but it's still very much a thing where I don't think it's gone too far too fast. It actually is more of a build up than you think. He's already dealt with aliens. He's already dealt with aliens. Yeah.
Into the other Marvel movies.
To quote Nick Fury, "Bitch, you've been to space."
Yeah, that's true. He has been to space, and I mean, he fought Captain America already. So yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
He fought the Guardians of the Galaxy.
He fought Thanos on Titan.
Yeah, that's true. He definitely played a part.
Which to me also felt kind of fast, but it's like I hear what you guys are saying. Like he's already had
for Spider-Man, not the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Maybe that's what I'm trying to get at, is that it's fast for Spider-Man because this all happened to him so quickly. He's just kind of been thrown to the deep end, into the wolves' den constantly. Far From Home, he got the crap beaten out of him.
He got hit by a train.
He got hit by a train. Like, he wound up in jail in, like, a foreign country, like...
But did he stop the train? No. Tobey Maguire's superior.
So, I wanted to take a quick detour to talk about the video games real quick. Has anyone played any Spider-Man game?
No.
Unfortunately, not.
I remember playing.
Maybe the super old school ones.
There was. I remember playing Xbox 360 game. God, it was it's like.
Shattered Dimensions?
Shattered Dimensions. That's the one. God dang, I couldn't think of the name. But yeah, that's where I first met 2049 Spider-Man and Spider Noir.
Yep. I think that was a lot of people's first introduction to both of those characters. And Spider-Man 2099, like, he was the face of that game. It was pretty cool. Also, they have Ultimate Spider-Man in there too.
Yeah, this was during the Ultimates run, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. That was before Miles was around, though.
Yeah, this came out just before the creation of Miles, I think, or right around that same time. They hadn't fully established him yet, but he was on his way up.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So he wasn't in the game yet. Ultimate Spider-Man was the Peter Parker who had not died yet, and like Shattered Dimensions. I remember I didn't play that game, but I remember it was everywhere when it came out. Like it was hailed by IGN, Game Informer. Like it was on every gaming magazine, at the bookstore. You know, like people praised that as being like the best Spider-Man game at that point that it had been made.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it when I was a kid because it was at the youth center. When I went there, it was like, oh, dope! They got a Spider-Man game. We'll play a little bit of this. Storyline was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I've played both the PS4, the Insomniac Spider-Man games. I've played both of them, playing both. And the only reason I wanted to segue into this is because we brought up the train that hit Peter, and it just brings back PTSD of playing either Insomniac Spider-Man or Miles Morales, and you go to get a collectible where there's a train line, and then a train just comes out of nowhere and kills you. Just dead.
Wait, like that's supposed to happen?
Yes and no. There's occasionally a train that runs through an area, and if you aren't paying attention, you can just get ran over by it and you have to respawn.
Wow. That's pretty cool. It's a little tongue-in-cheek, huh?
But both of these games are phenomenal. Insomniac did the best thing ever for Spider-Man, and I am so happy they're making another one, a proper sequel to Spider-Man that will include both him and Miles. Both of these games are fantastic. I got to play Miles on PS5, and oh my god, that game it hits so well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, Insomniac was the best developer to make a Spider-Man game. Like, they'd already, like, established themselves with the, what was the name of that superhero game line they had made? Was it called Infamous?
Infamous, yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, Infamous and Infamous Second Son. And those games...
That was Sucker Punch. I might be crazy. Go ahead.
I was pretty sure they made Infamous. Maybe I'm wrong. No. Before I go on, like, 'cause otherwise I'm gonna be like super wrong here. Let me look it up. Oh, never mind.
Sure, Infamous.
It says Sucker Punch Productions, but I could have sworn it was. People also search for Insomniac games. Well, then what did Insomniac make?
Is it Infamous Second Son?
Ratchet and Clank. It's like Ratchet and Clank is what Insomniac made.
They made Ratchet and Clank. Okay. Huh. I could have sworn they had made the Infamous games. Or maybe... What was Sucker Punch? Are they still around?
I mean, they did Spyro, Ratchet and Clank, and Resistance. Sunset Overdrive.
They also did Sunset Overdrive. Man, they've done a lot of big stuff. Well, anyways, I guess I can reevaluate my point to say that Insomniac is just, like, they've made so many heavy-hitting games over the years and, like, big IPs that, like, I think that they were the perfect pick for Spider-Man. And I remember reading about the development of the PS4 game before it came out. It took them years to make that game.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't mess around. They put their best work into it. And I remember when it came out, and a lot of people were still finding stuff to complain about, being like, oh, this isn't right, this isn't perfect. You know, like, Insomniac didn't live up to the hype. Oh, they did.
Lies.
Those
Lies.
are utter lies. You're always gonna have people come out of the woodwork to be like, "Oh, this game could have been better." It's like, I don't think it could have. Actually, it's like
the only thing that could have made it better was no loading times, which is what they fixed with the PS5. So boom, like this game has so many spider costumes that are just awesome. That bring in references to every Spider-Man movie, including Into the Spider-Verse. They've got.
Did they also reference the Japanese Spider-Man, the agent from Hell?
No, they made a reference to the Spider-Man manga.
Oh, okay. I thought they had thrown in a costume for that guy.
No, they did not. Not yet.
Alas.
Might be in the second one.
Maybe. Hopefully. I do remember it being a demand from fans. the Emissary from Hell, I believe, is his title for the live action Japanese Spider-Man.
who has a leopard Megazord called Leopardon.
Leopardon, yeah.
It's everything we ever needed.
God, Japanese Spider-Man is a fever dream, to be quite honest.
Every time I see clips of him on YouTube, I'm like, dang, we missed out. Like, well, like
it's like pushing a kid out of a tree to tell him to get braver. That's how you get brave. Pushes him out of a tree.
Just, hey, man, you know, like, love hurts sometimes. You know, he's got to teach kids the hard lessons.
God.
Oh man, like I do know that there is some rumor that he might appear in the Across the Spider-Verse movie, though.
Hopefully,
like, that is a rumor.
We're here.
Oh, is it?
Like, that's
God.
Yes. That has definitely been floating around. That it's very possible. The studio that makes the movie, they've heard the requests. Can confirm.
Like Sony is doing great thing in their animation. Their animation, every movie they've made since Spider-Verse has been top tier quality. Now, plot line 50-50, but all their animation has been really well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't even want Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3. I want Japanese Spider-Man.
Yes!
I want some Spider-Man to show up in his fucking Megazord to stop the Sandman.
They
Sandman won't stand a chance.
Electro is just going to power the Megazord.
I just see him bust through the dimensional wall, and it's not like he lands, but 3 cuts of him landing on the ground in front of him, just 3 different cuts.
Dude, it's a silhouette. It's a silhouette of Spider-Man, and like you hear Tobey Maguire's voice, but then he comes out in his Japanese Spider-Man.
So Japanese Spider-Man is in that Spider-Geddon comic book I was telling you guys I had.
Mm-hmm.
It's so great.
The Tobey Maguire dubbed Japanese Spider-Man. Let's go.
Yes, exactly. But he's still the emissary from hell.
Spider-Man.
God, I see Leopardon just kicking through the dimensional wall. Sandman not even knowing what is gonna happen to him.
It's crazy that like I see that trailer for Across the Spider-Verse and I can't tell if I'm actually more hyped for that movie now than No Way Home.
That's the funny thing, isn't it?
I'm probably hyped more for No Way Home, but man, this animated film that has been worked on in secret for like a couple years now is actually like the trailer drops and all of a sudden its hype is almost equivalent to the big budget MCU movie that's about to come out. It's crazy.
You don't understand. I found that 3 hours after it dropped, it already had 2 million views.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse was such a good movie. I am not surprised in the slightest.
Yeah. Oh, and I do remember Miguel. He shows up in the post-credits scene of the original Into the Spider-Verse movie, actually. So.
Oh yeah, the famous scene of him pointing at 1960s Spider-Man.
So
it's like don't point at me. God. So let's talk about. Let's get into speculation now. Let's start thinking speculation. Let's start with Across the Spider-Verse, and then we'll end with No Way Home.
Okay.
Spider-Pool.
Sounds good. So Spider-Pool, yes, we.
You mean Gwenpool?
Is there a difference?
I think there is a difference. Let me look it up. Spider-Pool. Spider-Pool has a whole website called Spider. That's not what I'm looking for. Ask Spider-Pool.
That's a Spider-Man X Deadpool setup. So.
Yeah, because Gwenpool is just a female Deadpool. Her costume is like white and pink.
The first thing that shows up is literally a physical amalgamation of Spider-Man and Deadpool. This can't be real. Are you kidding me? No. This is like a crossover, right? I can't tell what I'm looking at. If you Google Spider-Pool, it's the first picture that shows up, and it's like a half Spider-Man, half. This is clearly a comic book picture I'm looking at too.
Well, that's one of the things. For some reason, Deadpool and Spider-Man are just the most unlikely of best friends.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Like, they actually have tons of crossovers together. Like, there are multiple books about Spider-Man and Deadpool teaming up. And the funny thing is that Spider-Man has to play the straight man in those books. Which is hilarious because normally he's the one who's quippy, making like awkward, funny jokes to the other straight superheroes. But now Spider-Man has to be the straight man because Deadpool is just literally trying to kill everybody. And Spider-Man's like, no. Don't do that.
Not in my comic book
movie.
So I will save this for the I will save this for the end, but I'm gonna say it right now. I really want Deadpool to show up in the post-credits scene for No Way From Home. I want him to be in No Way Home. There it is. I'm gonna gush about that more.
It's just Ryan Reynolds, not even in costume. Like
exactly. No, it's gonna be Ryan Reynolds as Detective Pikachu shows up. He's like, hey, I need coffee. But yeah, like across the Spider-Verse, I know this goes without saying, but I really hope that we just get some more development on the relationship between Miles and Gwen. I absolutely adore that relationship they have, and we see some of it already building in the trailer that they dropped.
Yeah, based on the trailer, I'm pretty sure it's going to be at least a minor
she grabs
focus.
the book and she sees his very detailed illustration of her. And he at that moment he just dies, and I feel for him so bad. I feel for our man. Like that's rough.
Yeah.
But she just smiles. She's like, I missed you too. I'm like, yeah, oh God, it's rough, buddy, but hey, like it works. Hey, he already ripped her hair out by accident in the first movie, so nothing he does will ever be as embarrassing as that.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, that's my hope.
You hope.
Mm-hmm.
I want to point out that just from a black perspective, Miles' hair looks so good. It looks so good.
It does.
Just seeing his.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, Sony, thank you. This is how.
It's because they got so much flack for the first Spider-Man game, the first Miles Morales game.
Was it? What was his hair in the first game? Was it just like short? Was it just like clean cut?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Like the games, like the first one didn't do it well. In the Miles Morales game, he's got the freshest cut and it looks good. But I'm talking about in the trailer for Across the Spider-Verse, just the detail that Sony uses for how they styled his hair. Even if that's just bedhead, it is super accurate for someone like Miles, so it just looks good.
That's good. Yeah, like their attention to detail has been so superb, and really the team behind these movies, like the reason why the movies work is because the team behind it, they're all very talented. Like they're all just geniuses.
Talented,
in their own way.
Passionate, and they actually care about Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you can tell these movies have so much personality because they're not processed. They're not micromanaged. They're not being. I mean, they're being used to make a bunch of money, but they're not like very processed money grubbing machines of movies, if you get my drift. You know, they don't feel typical. You know, they don't feel formulaic. Like these movies, they break the boundaries in every single sense. Hence to the fact that there's multiple animation styles within the same movie. They experiment with visuals, which is my favorite part about these movies. And in that trailer where, you know, Miles is going through this massive like free fall with Miguel essentially like kicking his butt, like all of that is so colorful and very quick and very frantically animated in a 2D fashion compared to Miles's actual world he is from, which is like a combination of 2D and CG. So
yeah. It's really good.
I'll never get over how seamlessly they connect visual styles together, because that in itself is a crazy concept that most people can't do.
So who do you think they're gonna pull into this? They might bring back all the other ones they brought in the first Spider-Verse movie, but
Peter
who else
Porker.
do you think they're adding on besides Miguel? Let's assume they're gonna bring in like we're gonna bring in Spider-Ham, Spider-Man Noir. We're gonna bring in Penny Parker. We're gonna bring in Peter B. Parker somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Who else do you think they're gonna bring into this?
I am going to go out on a limb and say that they're going to bring Tom Holland Spider-Man into that. They're going to bring him in.
Like, he's just going to green screen him in. Like, not even animate him.
They could do that, because something that was announced during Disney Plus Day was that they're doing a Spider-Man animated series featuring Tom Holland's Spider-Man for his first year, Spider-Man freshman year, where we talk about like his first 6 months as Spider-Man before Tony brings him to Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, we get to see Ben Parker die again?
Heck yeah, that's what I'm here for. Can't wait to see Uncle Ben just kick it once again in glorious fashion.
And now it's animated, not 3D this time around.
Can I see him die in the wrestling ring this time?
The man spider.
His face against Bonesaw.
The human spider.
Bonesaw ready.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I can't believe they got Macho in to do that.
I'm actually wondering if this Spider-Man, if Tom Holland Spider-Man ever tried to do the wrestling thing. I actually want to know if he tried to do that.
Yeah, with his origin story, like, they can do whatever they want this time around. It can be entirely new. It doesn't even need to be like linked to the comics. They could just come up with an entirely new origin story if they wanted to. The MCU Spider-Man is vastly different from every Spider-Man before him.
But the one caveat, Uncle Ben has to die.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's the catalyst. It's like Spider Bite, Uncle Ben died, dead. These are the only things that have to be solid.
Turns out Tony was his long lost uncle.
I mean, that works. It works.
Yeah.
No, the law is if you are Peter's father figure in any capacity, you are doomed to die or disappear.
I mean, it did happen.
It's a good thing that
Watch Endgame. It did happen.
Right.
It's a interdimensional law, it seems, because every one of those spider people from Spider-Verse into the Spider-Verse had someone die to them, so I guess die from, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like it'd be cool to see Tom Holland show up. I know he even said when the first one came out he really wanted to be in it, but they couldn't make it happen because he requested it after the movie was already like nearing completion. But some other characters that we haven't seen yet, I mean, it's a hard question because we've already seen so many iterations of Spider-Man pop up, like popular ones at least pop up. Scarlet Spider. There you go. I would love to see Scarlet Spider in Across the Spider-Verse because he is probably the gruffest Spider-Man out there. Like, he is a clone of Spider-Man.
So which version which version are you talking about? Are you talking about the angry one or the semi-nice one?
They'd probably pick the semi-nice one, but I want the angry one. The one that, like, actually adopted a kid and, like, had to fight off, like, gangsters. Like I want the Scarlet Spider from like the mid 2010s who like teamed up with Flash Thompson's Venom to fight off Carnage, like the really gritty, edgy one. Like I think that would be cool because like Noir Spider-Man is funny, edgy, but I want like legit gritty, edgy.
Yeah. For me, I think I would want someone like out of left field, like Silk.
Oh,
Yeah, Silk would be
Like,
really cool.
Okay.
Like not even Spider-Man, just someone like outside like Silk, Spider-Woman, any one of those. It would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like, well, I'm just looking at the cover of my Spider-Geddon comic book. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of characters we could bring to this. A lot of Spider-Women. There's a version of there's a Spider-Woman who's just who's Aunt May, so she's Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. Yep, that would be pretty cool. We need Black Cat. Like Black Cat would be cool to see in the movie. Yeah.
Oh, Black Cat. Yeah. No, wait, no. She can't be in this. This is a Spider-Verse movie. We can't have Black Cat in there. As much as I want her.
Dang it.
I want. I don't know if this exists, but the name works. I want Black Widow turned into Spider-Man.
I don't know if that's out there, but someone needs to get on that.
The name, it just works.
I would pay to see that. That'd be pretty cool.
I think, so the Marvel Avengers game, that came out in like 2020? I think it came out in 2020. Either way, the Marvel's Avengers game, they just added Spider-Man into the game for DLC on PlayStation only. Suck it, Xbox.
Ooh.
So Spider-Man is obviously part of the game. Part of the downtime in the game is that you get to interact with other characters, and Spider-Man has a dialogue set where he talks a lot to Black Widow, and at one point he talks to Black Widow about possibly making a band with like fighting two other spider-themed people, and then calling it arachnophobia.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, leave it to Spider-Man to come up with the really bad jokes. Especially in a game like Avengers, everybody else is way too serious.
You mean really good jokes?
The bad jokes, in their perspective, but good jokes in our perspective, yes.
Yeah, I think
we'll see what happens.
I don't know. I don't know what the plot's gonna be. I wonder what they're gonna be doing for this multiverse hopping, because normally Spider people don't multiverse hop unless there's a problem with the Spider Force. That's not an actual thing, but it's basically what it is. It's the Web of Destiny. That's
the Web of Heroes?
That's normally what connects them.
Yeah, you have to wonder what brought Gwen back, because clearly she's been doing stuff, otherwise she wouldn't have found an interdimensional portal to come back to Miles and give him more problems.
And use it freely.
And use it freely to just be like, hey, you wanna play hooky? It's like, it's hard to say no to you, Gwen, but why are you here?
Being grounded's so lame.
There is a problem here you're not telling me about. You are evading the real reason why you came here. Please tell us.
Well, I mean, they seem to be using the same thing Miguel was able to transport thing. So
Miguel is the
2049.
2099, yeah.
Or 2099. Yeah.
Blade Runner 2099.
So he's like the king, the conqueror of the Spider-Verse.
No.
No. King the Conqueror is very much truly evil. Miguel is not. Miguel is like Batman from Batman Beyond. He's just like moody and futuristic.
He's just
and rich.
And rich.
He's like you, but
he managed to he made a tech. He decided to. Well, at the post-credit scene for Into the Spider-Verse was like he went to the first Spider-Man and was like, I need you to come with me, which means there's something threatening the multiverse. But what?
So Miguel is at least going to bring the conflict. He won't be the cause of the conflict, but he's going to notice that there's something that's breaking it. So, and it's crazy
he's
because
the secret protagonist.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know how they're gonna make this just a part one. It's part one. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Like,
and they actually told us it was part 1. You could learn from that, Dune.
I mean, for me, when I saw Dune in movie theaters, I didn't know it was part 1, and then the first thing you see is the title card says Dune Part 1, and I freaked out, and I was like, oh my god, there's a whole second part? And that was hype to me. Like, I thought that was super cool that they waited to reveal it until I got to the theater, but, you know.
There was another like major movie that did that. I can't remember what it was.
Harry Potter?
No.
Infinity War.
I mean, Infinity War technically didn't do it because they renamed the second
I guess
Endgame.
Infinity War counts. Maybe that's what I'm thinking in the back of my mind.
I mean,
Twilight?
technically it does.
You're thinking of
No.
Twilight?
Oh, God.
Oh God. It's like they didn't deserve it. Moving on.
Hunger
So
Games?
let's talk
Let's
about No Way Home. Let's talk about No Way Home. But I will mention they should probably bring in Superior Spider-Man. That'd be interesting.
Oh my god, yes, 100%. They gotta do that. They gotta bring in Superior Spider-Man. Maybe even Tom Hardy's Venom. We will see.
But let's talk about No Way Home. What are our thoughts on what is probably going to be the biggest movie that came out in 2021?
So, I need to bring up something real quick. Who here has seen the second Venom movie that just came out, Let There Be Carnage?
I have not seen it, so no.
I haven't even seen the first one.
Frank,
I have seen parts of. I've seen parts of it. Again, when I went to go do theaters, I've seen parts of it.
Okay,
I caught the ending though.
Okay, I haven't seen it either. A friend of mine who saw the movie, Julian, he told me about the post-credit scene. The movie just came out, so I'm not sure if we should talk about this or not, but the post-credit scene is incredibly important here. So,
I've heard the rumors about this.
It came out in October, so I don't know how we're dealing with
I would
that.
say avoid it just for.
let's put like a timestamp here for anybody listening. If you're listening to the recorded version of this podcast after we've streamed it, skip ahead like 5 minutes down the line because we'll be done talking about this in 5 minutes. But I want to bring this up down.
We'll try and put in like.
We can put in like a timestamp in like the description.
I'll link up the chapters and all that later, so hopefully spoiler talk now.
Okay. The post-credit scene of Venom Let There Be Carnage shows Tom Hardy with Venom, and they're in a hotel room. They're watching like a Hispanic drama, and they're having their banter, talking about like, you know, the stuff they normally talk about. And then Venom tells Tom Hardy, "Everybody has secrets, Eddie. Everybody has a past." And he's like, well, what is that supposed to mean? And Venom says something along the lines of like, you know, billions of universes that us symbiotes have traveled across, and we all share this hive mind of knowledge. You know, you wouldn't be able to fathom like a single inkling of what we know. And Eddie's like, huh, try me. You know, like give me something. And Venom's like, okay, Eddie, you asked for it. And so the room starts shaking a little bit. And Tom Hardy like leans up. He's like, whoa, what's going on? All of a sudden, the room transforms into a totally different hotel room. And you hear Venom shout, "Oh, shit! What is that?" And the room changes. And Eddie's like, what did you do? What did you do? And Venom's like, it's not me. I didn't do this. And then they look at the TV they've been watching. It's not the Hispanic drama anymore. It's a newscast from J. Jonah Jameson talking about Peter Parker's identity, and you see Tom Holland's face on the TV screen.
Oh God damn.
He got blips.
And they walk up to the TV, and Venom says, "That guy." And his tongue like licks the TV screen. And then that's essentially the end of the scene.
We're getting Black Suit Spider-Man!
So
Dios mío.
that is honestly the most direct confirmation I think we're gonna get that Tom Hardy's Venom is in the MCU now. And are we gonna see him in No Way Home? That is debatable. That is still debatable. We might not see him until another post-credit scene in No Way Home because they already have so many villains crammed into this movie. But I think it's safe to say we are going to see him in No Way Home.
All right.
At least in a minimal capacity.
We'll table that discussion. And for those of you just rejoining us, welcome back. So let's think about let's look at all the cool stuff they've done. Like I really like the update to Jamie Foxx's Electro outfit. They unbluified him, and they actually gave him an electro suit, which is pretty dope. I like it.
Yeah. I like how they saw Will Smith as Genie and went like, maybe your brother should be blue.
Maybe we shouldn't do that.
maybe your brother shouldn't be blue. We'll go with that.
Maybe your brother shouldn't be blue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like his new costume, I hear is much more comic, faithful. And frankly, it just looks cooler. Like I think they even gave him like kind of a mask, didn't they?
Well, his electric powers make the shape of what Electro's original mask looks like. It's so goofy.
Yeah. So there you go. That's really cool. And his electricity is yellow this time instead of blue. So I think that was like the smartest choice they could have done with his character. They not only brought back the original actor and the character, but they reinvented the character to be even better than what we knew before. So that's cool, and I love Jamie Foxx as an actor, so I can't wait to see him again.
If you don't know what costume we're talking about, just look up Djibouti dubs with Spider-Man.
What?
You'll definitely see the costume. Djibouti dubs with Spider-Man. You'll definitely see the costume.
All right. Okay, I'll look it up.
But yeah, so right now we have 5 villains confirmed on screen. We've got Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin in the original Power Rangers villain looking
original suit with the original elongated helmet. Holy cow!
We better bring corny ass jokes.
I think they are. Will. It's the same voice. It's the same voice too that he had in the first
it's Willem
movie.
Dafoe. Yeah, it's Willem Dafoe.
He's back in the suit.
Yep, he's brought back that weirdo character.
We've got Doc Ock.
Yeah.
We've got Sandman, the lizard specifically from Amazing Spider-Man. Like he's still got the exact same design.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
just the villain from the first Amazing Spider-Man film that Andrew Garfield had to fight.
So yeah, we've got Electro, Sandman, and the lizard. So they're one away from a Sinister Six, and every time I see the trailers, there's this one shot of what possibly looks like Harry's Hobgoblin outfit.
Oh my gosh. I saw that too. I saw a poster where I was like, that's not Green Goblin. That like that also doesn't look like the same flyer. No, that's not Harry. That can't be Harry. They're not going to bring back Green Goblin and Hobgoblin in the same movie. No freaking way.
So yeah, there's speculation on that. There's speculation. It could just be that Norman recreates the board or something like that.
It could just be him wearing a similar costume too. It could just be him wearing a hood before he dons the full costume. Possible. But it was a little bit weird.
Yeah, but we have 5 villains. We need one more for a Sinister Six. So do we think we're getting another villain in this movie?
I mean, I think so, but I don't think he's gonna join the Sinister Six. Like,
what do you mean by that, Andrew?
I mean that if the villain that I'm thinking of shows up, I think it's only gonna be more of a cameo rather than like to fully join the other 5 villains and fight Spider-Man in this movie.
Frank, your thoughts?
I don't think there's gonna be another villain. I think that one with the Green Goblin is just him without his mask.
Yeah, it's very possible.
So I think they just showed another version of him like taking, because again they do get upgrades this time around. Doc Ock gets nanotech on his arms. Electro gets the arc reactor on his chest.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's been talk about how the fact that they're in our universe means that they're adjusting to be like they were always there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I don't think there's gonna be another villain. I think there might be a cameo from Venom, if they're doing this whole thing about crossing dimensions. So I think there might be a cameo from Venom. Mm-hmm. Morbius might make an appearance as well.
Jared Leto's Morbius, because they got that movie coming out.
We didn't even talk about how Morbius is very confusing because we keep seeing Vulture.
Yeah,
that's
Michael Keaton's Vulture.
That's right.
In the trailers.
So if any case, they might be their Vulture might make an appearance again. Who knows?
That's a good point.
It might just be.
He could.
I think Shocker was in the first Spider-Man movie.
He was, so.
Yeah, so Homecoming. So I think there might just be like, hey, he's in prison with all of them.
Didn't they kill Shocker? Didn't Vulture kill Shocker?
No, definitely. Well, he killed the first Shocker.
And
the second Shocker is still alive.
Picked up. Got it.
Yeah, the one he meets in prison is the next Shocker.
Scorpion.
Scorpion. Yeah.
No, the one in prison is Scorpion.
Gosh,
oh yes.
The Sinister Six stuff just gets so confusing.
It's not confusing. There's 6 bad guys. It's normally a rotating gallery, normally with Doc Ock as the leader, and we normally have like Rhino and Sandman and.
I know. It's more just like how Sony's been handling their Sony Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's just like, so is this character going to show up or aren't they?
I mean, with everything else, I think with everything with Hawkeye as well going on right now, Kingpin might make an appearance.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yes, because
like
Kingpin's daughter is in that show.
No?
No,
Kingpin doesn't have any kids. Echo's not his daughter. It's his adoptive niece or his goddaughter.
Oh, okay. I thought it was his daughter. Never mind. Let's see.
Yeah.
It says adoptive daughter of the Kingpin. At least, got it. Okay, but yeah, like so that's possible.
It's like because we possibly also have Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock in there. He's probably not going to be Daredevil, but but we're probably getting Matt Murdock in this movie.
Yes, we need to talk about that. So, in the trailer, you see that the movie's probably going to start off with Peter being on the run, and then he eventually does get brought in, to the LAPD or like New York PD, like something like he is facing prison time essentially, and he gets out of it somehow. My theory is that Matt Murdock's going to show up as his lawyer to help him essentially clear his name and prove that he didn't kill Mysterio. And once that is resolved and he proves his point, then the next issue comes up that, okay, now everybody knows that he's Spider-Man. So now he's got to go to Doctor Strange and figure out how to reverse this. But my guess is Matt Murdock's going to show up first to be his lawyer to help him get out of it. I'm with you that I don't think he's going to actually don the Daredevil suit or fight any crime. It's just going to be his soft introduction into the MCU.
Would be really dope. Because Daredevil was Netflix's best show, and it's just sad that they never cross over.
I'm so happy they at least kept Charlie Cox, because he was very bitter about it after everything got canned, because he was a great Daredevil. People loved him as Daredevil, so did I. He enjoyed the role. He fit the role really well. So the fact that they brought him back, and we don't know how they're going to bring him back yet, but they've confirmed he is coming back in some fashion to the MCU. I really hope we see him, because we mentioned earlier how Deadpool and Spider-Man have a long-running history together. Well, so do Spider-Man and Daredevil.
Yeah, I actually have a comic from around 2008 about how Spider-Man was accused of murder. It was a fake claim, but Daredevil was his lawyer. And he managed to do one of the greatest lawyer moves ever. It's like, oh, you're saying Spider-Man is the person who caused this, who did this crime? Well, you can't have him take off his mask because you can't prove who's under the mask. And he brings in a bunch of people in Spider-Man costumes and some of them using power. So it's just like, nice.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So that's
perhaps we need that in the new movie.
Mm-hmm.
That specific scene.
Yeah, that's a big running rumor right now, is that Daredevil's going to be in it. I wonder if Scarlet Witch is going to appear in the movie at all.
Mm,
I want because we know for sure
probably not.
She's definitely going to be in Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, we probably won't see her, but it'd be cool if we did. We have so many cameos chalked up for this movie. It's gonna be crazy. Like,
okay, so yeah, let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Do you guys think that the other two Spider-Men are gonna be there?
Yes.
Yeah. There's no denying at this point. They've all they literally painted them out of the thing.
Yeah, so the trailer is like they have one scene where Spider-Man takes on like Sandman, like takes on all the villains at once, right? Yeah. There's a reaction video where Tom Holland, Zendaya, and I forget the name of his friend in the movie, Jason something.
Jacob.
Jacob. Okay. They all watched the trailer yet for the first time. They haven't seen any CG or anything yet. And when you get to that scene, Jacob and Zendaya are going, "Oh, that's so cool." And Tom Holland says, "Wait, where's the..." And then stops himself.
Tom Holland can't help but spoil his own movies.
They did an Infinity War Hulk trailer thing where they cut out Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield from that trailer. Like, they clearly did to throw us off.
I mean, there's a Brazilian cut where they show that same scene, and you see Lizard just gets somewhat his neck twists down and he falls to the ground.
Yep. So yeah, it's pretty obvious that they're both there. They probably won't show up until the third act. Like, don't get your hopes up for like a 3-person movie. This is Tom Holland's movie that's going to last until the third act, where he's going to need help because he's fighting at the minimum 5 different villains.
Right. I mean, that's also a very Spider-Man concept, right? Him always taking on an impossible battle. So, like, I think that fits in a certain way. As long as, you know, hopefully the vast number of cameos and characters they're shoving into this movie does not make the plot worse for wear, like Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, we always complain about how we don't want too many villains, and then we're super hyped for a movie that possibly has the Sinister Six in it. So it's like,
well,
I thought did we learn our lesson? Apparently not.
I mean, it all comes down to build up and utilization within the movie. Like, since they have their own movies where they were introduced, and there's the whole multiverse concept, you're not trying to fit in their backstories into one movie. Like, that was the biggest problem with Amazing Spider-Man 2, I believe. They had to fit in the backstories for all these characters too, and it just got so diluted. And but I think Disney has been doing such a good job with the slow burn kind of introduction that even if they pick up the pace a little bit with this movie, it's going to not feel rushed or too diluted, because I think their writing has been top notch lately. So I don't think it'll be a problem.
Yeah, hopefully not.
So I have a funny idea for a post-credit scene for this movie. Once this dust is settled and all that's done, we're gonna see a portal open, and Deadpool's gonna show up and be like, "Time to make the chimichangas. Thanks, Disney."
I mean, I would also like to see that. Like, I think if there's any way Deadpool is gonna make a cameo in this movie, it's gonna be like exactly that.
After the battle's over, he's just in the background.
Yeah.
I just want all of them to point at each other. Just standing in a triangle and pointing at each other.
We need the meme. We need the meme.
Or he'll come out during the credit scroll and like look at the credits, look at the audience. Well, man, I'm late, aren't I?
If they don't do the whole pointing at each other meme, it's gonna be such a missed opportunity. Yeah. Like, if Deadpool shows up, he's got to show up and be like, "Wait, did they already use up all the F-bombs that we can say in a PG-13 movie?" And then just go beep. Like, that would just be the perfect introduction for him.
Disney, if you're listening, we'll take paycheck.
It's like it doesn't even have to be that big.
You guys all the best
cut us the check. Cut us the check.
Hey, can I get a copy of Blade first? I just want a copy of Blade.
In terms of like
ultra early release.
Yeah. In terms of
pre-CG.
The tier of characters that like that you guys think are likely versus unlikely. I think Deadpool is at the top of unlikely. That's my that's my
unlikely.
That's just my pessimism talking because I do want him in it, but I sadly it probably ain't gonna happen quite yet.
I think until we get mutants.
Yeah, until we can make the mutants happen, it's probably not happening anytime soon.
I was gonna say, your hope for Deadpool is gonna be exactly like Sora. It's not gonna be until the very final Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
Yep. And then it comes last for like 5 minutes. We get just enough fan service to say that it happened.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's so much that's gonna happen in this movie, and I can't wait. I really can't wait. We got less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters and in IMAX, December 17th. I think we're just about wrapped up here. Any final thoughts, boys?
If they kill Zendaya the same way they killed Emma Stone in the second Spider-Man movie, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be really mad. I don't want to see that again. Because that was still a heart-wrenching scene the first time around, and they're mimicking it in the trailer. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We have such an innocent Spider-Man this time around. We can't
cannot
give him that
murder
kind of
him
trauma.
through the face and emotionally like we had before. But
I hope Happy doesn't die.
Oh my god.
See, that's one of the big problems is that Happy is the closest thing to a father figure he has right now, which means the spider curse is coming for him.
No. Happy.
First Iron Man and now this.
Right. Please don't do this to us, Sony. I did see an interview with Tom Holland where he said that No Way Home is the darkest Spider-Man film that they've made so far.
Oh, shit.
He said that it is very emotional and it is rough. It's dark. He has confirmed that with this movie.
Well, that doesn't give me hopes.
Yeah. So we will see. If they kill Happy, I might just walk out of the theater.
Disney hasn't... Disney, especially lately with the Marvel movies, they have not shied away from killing people off, so...
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, they haven't.
Nope. It's like they have to get rid of villains so they don't have to worry about contracts.
Contracts and just paving way for new IPs or just like characters to make movies about.
The interesting thing regarding that is that I read an IGN opinion article the other day where it's clear in the trailer that Peter doesn't want to kill these villains because Doctor Strange confirms with him like all those villains are meant to die by Spider-Man's hands. That is their fate. But Peter's not.
Yeah, he had to send them to their own dimension to die. That's the thing. Yeah.
Peter's not
like
all about
Sandman
that.
gets to live.
It's true. He does, right? He just gets liberated from his powers.
No, he just at the end of Spider-Man 3, he just kind of floats with the wind.
Like, I'm too tired to get you now. Go off later.
Oh, that's really how it ended?
Yeah.
It ends with Peter forgives Flint Marco for killing Uncle Ben, and Flint's like, "I'm just sorry, kid," and then he drifts into the wind. That's it. It's over. He's gone.
I need to rewatch that movie. Sounds like all sorts of craziness.
Yeah,
it's not much resolution.
It was something.
Okay, it's something.
It was.
What was I saying? But yeah, like he doesn't want to do that to these villains, so that's kind of leading into his conflict with Doctor Strange in No Way Home, and like the article I read on IGN kind of talks about how. That's what makes Peter different from the rest of the other MCU heroes, that he actually does have a problem with killing villains. When they're not like a horde of murderous aliens in Endgame, at least. So.
Activate Insta-kill.
It's the suit that killed them, not Peter. Totally.
But his voice activated.
It was a request. He didn't do it with his own hands. That's what matters.
It was a command. It was a command.
It was,
All right,
yeah,
Braunsen, final thoughts?
Give me Spider-Punk.
All right.
Frank, final thoughts?
I hope they continue with the quality that they have. With these next 3 ones that they're going to make. I just hope that.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that actually does come out to be something that we can actually see all 6 of them and go, man, that was a good thing that while it lasted, and not be like the newest Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah.
So,
I'm excited for the movie. I'm excited for Across the Spider-Verse. I'm excited for Spider-Man 2 on the PS5. I'm excited. I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man is literally my favorite superhero. He was my first superhero that I was like, he's my superhero. I had Spider-Man pajamas when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this on a different podcast, but Spider-Man has always been there for me. I will be there to see every iteration I can, except for when they're not made for me. Like, once again, Disney, why did you make a preschool Spider-Man show? And what happened to the Spider-Man show you were making? Because, oh my god, it left on such a cliffhanger.
Sony likes doing that. They like just ending Spider-Man stories prematurely, and it's bad. They did it to Amazing Spider-Man. They did it to Spectacular Spider-Man. I think they ended the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon like a little bit prematurely, and they nearly
Ultimate ended with an ending.
Oh, thank goodness! Thank goodness. Well, they nearly did it again with Tom Holland. They nearly did it again with Tom Holland Spider-Man, and it's just like, Sony, you gotta see this through. Like, the reason why you keep failing.
Have commitment issues.
The reason why, yeah, exactly. It's like, you guys have commitment issues. That is the problem. Like, please, just see it through the end and then do something new. Don't just say, oh, this isn't making quite the amount of money we want. Like, it's making $10 less a month than we want.
Oh, no.
Just please have some faith in it, for God's sakes.
Also, I don't know why they keep trying to make villain movies. I'm still upset about Venom because I don't see Venom as a separate character without Spider-Man. His whole existence is to be Spider-Man's Venom, to be the poison in his life. That is his whole reason for existing. And now they're doing Morbius, who can kind of stand on his own, but I still think that's dumb. And then they're making a Kraven the Hunter movie, and I'm like, why?
It's because those are the characters they have the rights to, man. They got the rights to everything except Spider-Man.
I kind of would be okay with a Black Cat movie, but they would have to get the right actress for a Black Cat.
I will say, like, I felt the same way as you, Trey, until I saw the first Venom movie. And Tom Hardy's acting, along with how they wrote Venom's character, sold me that he could at least be separate from Spider-Man for a while. So
yeah, I agree with the first movie. I still need. I guess I need to see. I know I need to see the second movie, but
it's still in theaters, I believe. Is that right?
Is it?
Is it still in theaters, Frank?
Yeah, we saw like a couple showings every now and again. It was like, that's super weird.
Well, I still have.
It should be out of theaters by now.
I still have some of the free movie tickets you gave me, Frank. I may as well go watch it. Even though I don't have a lot of desire to watch it because it looks like the first movie all over again.
Yeah, like I could wait to see this on TV, but it's gonna be months before that happens.
Yeah. I also don't have enough free time between now and when the movie comes out next week, so I'll just go read the Wikipedia article on what happens. I'm sure he did a great job. Okay.
But yeah, I think that's all. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in today. If you liked what we did here, please use those web shooters to hit the like button, swing and save the subscribe button, and then obviously leave a comment down below with your favorite Spider-Man, or just leave us the spider hand sign. I don't know. we need interaction down below. And yeah, from Advent7, it's like, and for more things on video games, comic books, and anime, please follow us on Twitter, Advent_7. Follow, like our Facebook page, check out our subreddit, and of course, check out our main website, www.advent7.com. From Advent7, I'm Trey, and I was joined by Andrew.
Pizza time.
Braunsen.
Pizza time.
Pizza time.
And Frank.
Pizza time.
It's pizza time, ladies and gentlemen.
Time.
And remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Pizza time.
Pizza time.
I know what I'm having for dinner now.
Double pepperoni.
Yes. Yes, but it needs to be delivered by somebody who looks like they swung across the city to get there, and it's just like a exploded mess inside of a box. There's no other way to get a pizza.
But always remember, Spider-Man, Spider-Man, radioactive Spider-Man.
Okay, we're done.
Pizza time.